in a space where there wasn't any representation of identity for Black people.
Yeah.
Growing up, I wanted to fit in.
It's not the clothes that are making you. It's the being that is sparked inside.
They didn't want to teach that
Interesting.
because you're stepping on their commission, you're stepping on their clientele. In that moment, I was acting as if I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for those moments because I think that's the light that I still carry.
Welcome to Comfortable Conversations. I'm your host, Jas Kirk, where we dive into the greatest gift life can offer us, discomfort. These honest yet comfortable conversations we will have are essential as your life is your canvas. In each episode, I will share practical wisdom and personal stories that guide you through life's big questions, encouraging growth, self-discovery, and deeper connections in your everyday life. Creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy, pure creative energy. And that's what today's guest is, pure creative energy in form, in motion, and in truth. Meka is a trailblazer, a multi-dimensional artist whose life is his canvas. Whether through fashion, fine art, styling, or soul, he lives and expresses with a depth that can't be taught or embodied. As an art advisor, creative, and curator of the culture, Meka doesn't just follow trends, he creates space for truth. There's a frequency to people who live in alignment with who they truly are, and Meka moves in that rare, grounded, and intentional way. His artistry isn't limited to medium or industry, it flows through everything he touches. Every room he walks in is elevated, not just by what he wears or what he knows, but by who he is. Meka reminds us, and Meka also reminds me, real artistry begins when we reclaim the courage to be ourselves. And he is living proof of what happens when you do that. His work is expression, his life is art. And he is a reminder that authenticity is a form of leadership. So it is my deep honor and pleasure to welcome to Comfortable Conversations today, Meka.
What's going on?
What's up?
What's going on? Wow.
How you doing?
That was, that made me feel warm on the inside.
It should.
Yeah. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor. That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I think it's important to give people their flowers, but also for the audience to really understand the individual who is sitting before them,
Right.
sharing their stories. And I always want to gift you all the value of doing the research and doing my work to see you. Like every guest I have, I see them beyond their Instagrams or beyond what they put their profiles or their bio. So, of course, I didn't ask you for a bio.
Right. That was, sheesh. That was impressive.
So if ever I introduce you to someone and I'm like,
No,
I told them
golden.
about you, just know that's what I told them.
That was golden. I love when people speak over my life. And right there, I felt like you spoke over my life and I received that. So thank you.
Yes, well, welcome, Meka.
Glad to be here. It's a beautiful space.
Yeah, so the first question I have for you is, what discomfort led you to this version of yourself? That person that I'm sharing to everyone is this like creative visionary.
Right.
But what discomfort met you?
Man, I think at large that might be a loaded question, right? Because I'd have to bring it all the way back to just like,
take us back.
Yeah, I want to go back to maybe like elementary, like as a kid, growing up in a traditional African household where there was a lot of like, I say silent suffering, but it was really just tough love.
Yeah.
But so I'm first generation Nigerian.
Okay. Can you tell everyone your full name? Because
I was about to reintroduce myself too.
Because I only said Meka because I hate y'all pronouncing someone's name wrong. It's just don't do it.
It's okay. It happens. And I get people take it personal, but I try not to take it personally anymore.
Yeah.
But when I jump into this story, it'll make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
First generation Nigerian. My full name is Chukwuemeka Ibe. Chukwuemeka is, the meaning behind it is God has done something well in my native tongue, which is Igbo. So I tell people my name is Meka, but growing up in a PWI, I went to me and my older brother, we went to a private Catholic school. You know, we were raised in the church.
Yeah.
I have a younger brother as well, but tuition was expensive, so he went to public. But me and my older brother, and we're all 3 years apart, we went to a private middle school. From like my brother did kindergarten to high school.
Yeah.
I did kindergarten to about like the 6th grade.
Okay.
And so in the yearbooks, it would be like Emeka, so Emeka.
Yeah.
But the full pronunciation of my name is Chukwuemeka, which means God has done something well.
How do you, like, before you even can go deeper into your story, like, your name means God has done something well. The prophecy over your name, it's like, man, I gotta live up to that.
You know what? Like I tell people, I've recently told people, because when I tell people my name is Meka, Meka even also has meaning too.
Yeah, in itself.
In itself, right? Whether it's the holy place that people pilgrimage to, or when people say things like New York is like the Mecca of fashion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that name already holds weight. But so when I tell people my name is Mecca, they're like, wow, that's a dope name. I tell people I didn't choose it, it chose me.
Yeah.
But deeper context, you know, Chukwuemeka, it does have lineage and history. You know, it's my grandfather's name on my mom's side. Okay. So Godwin Chukwuemeka Ibe, God rest his soul. And so it's all with intention, you know. Right. But to answer your question and not get on a tangent, growing up in a PWI, like with my older brother, in a space where there wasn't any like representation of identity for Black people.
Yeah.
Growing up, I wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
I really wanted to fit in, because you know, as a kid, that's what you want to do. You don't want to be the oddball out. You just want to, you want to fit in and get in where it's comfortable. Yeah. You know, not feel like you're too loud or like too seen.
Isn't it funny, before you go?
Yeah.
When we're younger, we don't want to be too loud or too seen. But when you're really in it, you're like, I don't care if it's too loud for you or too seen.
Right. And I feel like I'm still becoming of that, but 100%. But back to just kind of like how the household was, how we were raised. We were all 3 years apart. But growing up, you know, my brother, I feel like, had high expectations. He was the benchmark because he had siblings that looked up to him, right? And so whether it was grades, whether it was curfew, whether it was like sports, there was always like an expectation held to my brother just because he had siblings.
Yeah.
Right? And so that level of standard, I could only imagine what my brother was going through. And I look back, and when we were younger, I felt like, why was my brother like kind of stern and like mean to me and like this and that? I could only imagine the pressure that he had to feel. Yeah. Because our parents were strict on education, on like curfew, on doing the right things because you have younger siblings. Yeah. You know? So me being the middle child, you know, the whole complex of like middle child syndrome, I always looked as if I was I am the younger sibling, but I'm also the older sibling. Yeah. But I never really felt like the older sibling because I was so wrapped up in this world of like trying to be like my older brother. Yeah.
That you didn't form your own identity. Like you're stuck in the middle.
I didn't want to be a shadow to my older brother. I wanted to be who I wanted to be. And so I kind of rebelled a little bit and was trying to like find my own way, which led me to making a lot of mistakes, i.e. to the discomfort. But within that, I feel like I was also neglecting my younger sibling, you know, in the midst of it all, like being very like selfish and like self-absorbed, trying to figure my life out, not recognizing that I have a younger brother who's watching everything.
Right, but you're not realizing it was okay to allow your older brother to lead you and trust that. Like, I think we're we're just told certain things versus being able to understand, like,
Correct.
your brother and our siblings really are our first friends, our
Correct.
lifelong
Absolutely.
friendships.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we learn a lot of relationships, how to communicate with people, how to trust people through that. But I think in a lot of times in Black families, we and I think it's culturally. Let me not even
100%.
just say the Black family,
100%
but
culturally, yeah.
you look at your sibling and there's this competition, or like
Ooh.
they're this and that, but it's
Yeah.
really like you gotta love on them. Like, I have a really close relationship with my brother now, so
Really?
I'm just like, but it took time for that.
Absolutely.
And like, it took uncomfortable conversations as
Absolutely.
we're older. Like, you don't show up for me. Like, I need you to show up for me. Or like, you know, you, and I was essentially kind of that like middle child baby, like, cause there was
What was
four
the
of
age?
us.
What was the age gap?
So I technically have a twin, my younger brother.
What?
We are less than a year apart. So
Okay.
I call him my Irish twin.
Got you.
And then my brother who passed, Daniel, he is only a year and 3 days older than me.
Really?
So my mom was popping them out like
Real
Skittles.
quick, yeah.
And then
Not
our
Skittles.
older brother is 2 years older than my brother Daniel. So
Okay.
we were like very, very close.
That's close,
in
right,
age.
yeah.
But
Were you the only girl?
argued. Yeah, I was the only girl.
Okay. So you were protected.
I was protected, but I was a force. Like,
Right.
that's the difference. Like,
Right,
I'm
right.
like a beast. And
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
also have such an understanding. Like, a lot of people if you have a sister and a brother, then you just get different perspectives.
For sure.
So my female relationship struggled because I didn't know how to, until I got to high school or college, to hold relationship with females, because I
Interesting.
only
Yeah, I get
had
that.
male
Did you
brothers.
have like cousins? Like, were you
Yeah,
cousins
but I
close?
wasn't
Not really close.
super close to them. So
Did you play sports?
No,
Okay. Did your brothers play sports?
no.
Okay.
My childhood is.
Okay, fair.
I
fair.
have an interesting.
I guess that's for a different show.
a
for a
different
pod.
time.
Yeah.
But to get to your point of being a middle child, definitely understand the dynamic. So the first discomfort is identity within the
1000%.
household, and then identity
At school.
outside.
Yeah, like, you know, going to the Catholic school, it was private, so we were in uniform. And I think I'll lead into just where it came with like my sense of style from what I can recollect. But we would wear, our uniform consisted of the Adidas Sambas that were trending last summer, like the black, like those, we used to wear those. And there were like some other like black and white, almost like some derby style shoes. We had to wear like crew socks. We couldn't wear ankle socks, but some of the friends, we used to take the socks and like roll them under the heel.
Yeah.
Cause we wanted ankle socks, right?
Like,
but they didn't allow us, right? We would have capri khaki shorts, and then like slacks, white Oxford, blue Oxford, and then you had the uniform sweatshirt, hoodie, and then the girls wear skirts. And once you got into the 8th grade, you had to wear like a tie with the Oxford. And so that was my life from kindergarten to like 6th grade. But in the midst of that, we would have, you know, like free days where we could dress up.
Yeah.
And like we could wear whatever we wanted to wear.
Yeah.
And I vividly remember those days being the funnest days. Not only because like the curriculum wasn't the same, you could like, you would like, it would be more lax, but like just seeing your friends in like their outside clothes was just, and we didn't have style at all. I didn't know what I was wearing. It was very colorful, but I know that like I felt when I went to school, or like laying what I wanted to lay up on my bed before
this fit about to hit.
I'm like, yo, it's colorful. I got everything laid. I'm like, I just can't wait to just go show up as myself.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember that as a kid. And so I think that it is subconsciously embedded in who I am now, as far as like expressing my sense of style.
Yeah.
Not on a vanity standpoint, but more so like just representation of identity and being comfortable. Like, people don't like the tabby Margiela boots. They think, you know, what I have on right now. They look at it and it's like, but for me, I feel like it's distinguishing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a form of expression. And just because the mass doesn't like it doesn't mean that I have to follow what the mass wants. I'm going to do what I like and it's like my third, fourth pair.
Not everyone can wear and do like
This is
everything
true.
is individual.
This
And
is
I
true.
think when it comes to identity and style, like you have to find your sense of style. You have to play with, even
Right.
myself, I like to play with. I had to go through a season of, let me just not say play with, like where I did explore, like, is this your style? Is this your style? Or is this your color palette? And you start to know because people are like, man, I love that fit. Or
Right,
your
right.
energy.
That color looks good on you.
Yeah, and so the color looks good on you, your energy, the confidence you evoke when you're walking in it, the shoe, the pant, the shirt, the hat. Like these are all things that you start to feel ignited within. Like, yeah, it's not the clothes that are making you. That's not what we're saying, but it's the being that is sparked inside from that.
When did that come for you? I feel like for me, I think it goes back to like your eye refining, So like I started, like my first retail gig was at a sneaker shop in the Galleria Mall called Chic Shoes.
Okay.
And it was, we were selling sneakers, and it was cool because, you just had first dibs on certain releases. And I remember like copping like the What the Cake, like just having like first dibs on, like, I wasn't a big sneakerhead, but that was like my first real, I guess, like job in the mall. But after that, I remember like around that time, this is like 2014, maybe 2013-ish, 15, 16-ish. For me, like the sense of style that I think shifted me from when I was in high school, 2012, 2011, like thrifting and like trying to secondhand and buy like all this gaudy jewelry just to kind of feel like I'm misunderstood or like just different, or like that vintage era. It was actually Zara, believe it or not. My first time walking into Zara in like 2015, and for those of you who know, like Zara back then,
For
the kids in the hood, like for the kids who couldn't afford, and like Zara was definitely like that. Okay, like this is menswear tailored. This is like fine tailoring, Eurocentric, kind of elevated. Right? There was a store in North Park, for those who may remember, called I think it was called Metro Park.
Okay.
And this was on the second floor at North Park Mall. Metro Park had this brand called Creative Rex. And Creative Rex were like, man, they were like the flyest shoes to me. I don't know why. I think it was either like the way that it was shaped, the patent leather, the strap. I'm going on a tangent, but Zara was definitely the kind of like the gateway opening just to kind of look at like menswear tailoring, essentially.
Different. You started to elevate.
Yeah, my eye was
style.
refining. I didn't understand it. I genuinely didn't understand it. And growing up, when you're going to stores with your parents as a kid, you aren't allowed in stores that you have no business being in. Like if you can't afford it, what you doing in there? And so I'm walking into Zara and I'm like afraid to touch, because I'm like, this looks expensive. I'm like, this looks expensive. Obviously now it's like you understand like this is fast fashion, but like back then, again, like I remember there was an employee who was a employee, but then became later on my boss because I had got a job at Zara.
Yeah.
But I remember his name was Levon, right? And he was slick. You know what I mean? Like he was slick. Like he was just like, he felt like I'm looking at this dude like, man, this dude, he's like running there. Like he's confident in his store. He's confident in his space. And his retail, so basically what you're doing is like folding, refolding his clothes, and like obviously where product and SKUs are, but to an average consumer who has never been into the space, who is like uncomfortable in that room, I was looking at this dude like, man,
this is an art.
He's an expert. Like he's an expert. He knows what he's doing. A few years later, like he became my boss, and I would go back and tell him these moments of like, bro, I remember when I first walked into Zara and I would see you and I would just be like, man, like that's kind of like a pinpoint of like what I want to be, not like on an idol standpoint, but I saw something. I'm like, man, this is cool. Like this is dope. I like what I see as a figure. and this is kind of something that I want to do.
So it was a representation, but
Absolutely.
also I think that what you're sharing are the little details, right? I think people, and even Zara, when you think about walking in the store now, I don't feel like you always see the employees have a sense of style like they used to back in the
No.
day.
I mean, it's
And that's
grown.
another, a lot of places, right?
Yeah.
But when you have those individuals who are very intentional with showing up as
Right.
their most authentic, highest version of
Right.
themselves. And so what you started to see was this like impeccableness. And it
Exactly.
was not, and I keep going back to, it's not really the clothes, it's how you hold yourself, how you can wear the same thing every single day, but if you know how to wash your clothes, keep them cleaned, ironed, like all of that, it's how you carry yourself within that. So I really want to, we talked about the identity, but it's this impeccableness and this vision. And so even style is very important for you. But when you talk about the eye,
Yeah.
I think I would love for you to share, like even weaving in the artistry now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're also a curator of culture. You've
Correct.
hosted plenty of events that essentially sell out, and you've collaborated. You did a huge collaboration here where it was like a fashion show
Right.
times an art experience.
Right.
And so that I would love for to hear what discomfort met you there to kind of lean in and start to fuse that world.
Okay. I have to go back a little bit before the pandemic. It still pertains into retail and the transition from like from Zara, I got a job at Nordstrom's department store, and I was in like men's furnishing. And men's furnishing was essentially not the suits, but your dress shirts, your pocket squares, your ties, your socks. This was that department, in shirts, things like that. And so that was a transition. Zara was also uniformed, but Nordstrom, it showed me how to. Nordstrom does a really good job with customer service,
Yeah.
and that was like my first gig in how to interact with
People.
in different industries, and so that taught me at a young age. I think I got that gig back in like 2017, a little bit after Zara, but it taught me like the element of just like interpersonal relations at a very low, at a very like micro level, because when I got scouted from from Nordstrom's to Suit Supply really leveled me up.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Suit Supply leveled me up. And I got scouted because there was a secret shopper who worked at Suit Supply, and he was shopping just for like inshirts, like
Yeah.
polo inshirts and whatnot. And I had thrifted Suit Supply window pane. It was like a gray. It was a gray suit, but it was window pane.
Yeah.
The window pane was baby blue, and I thrifted this in Austin at a what's that thrift store? It's called what's that thrift? What is it called? It's not an actual thrift like Salvation Army or Goodwill, but it's like Buffalo Exchange.
Oh, okay.
So I thrifted. I seen this suit, window pane suit, gray, and the window pane was blue in Austin, and I had to have it. I didn't know what Suit Supply was, but the tailoring of that suit, it was a Lazio. Those of you who understand what a Lazio is at Suit Supply, it was a Lazio. This is before getting a job, and I would wear it at Nordstrom's.
Yeah.
And like that separated me from people at that time in 2017, 2016, when you were rocking the Zara suits where it was like a tight armhole, the skinny lapel, even Top Man, but like Suit Supply was like that next level,
Yeah.
And so I was rocking that, and I was feeling confident in that. I was feeling extremely confident, and there was a gentleman, a secret shopper, who was like, I don't know, he was in corporate at Suit Supply.
Yeah.
But I helped him casually. I'm getting to know him, but he seen that I had a Suit Supply suit on, and he recruited me.
We love to see it. Isn't it funny though, as you're telling this story and I'm hearing it, every time you're leveling up, God is giving you the next thing through the through the clothing that you don't even know. Like, you just thrifted it. It didn't nearly cost you what Suit Supply charged, but you just knew something in you was like, oh, this is next. And like, you're wearing it and it's just like, you don't know that's going to be the thing.
At all. And that was also in the midst of just, I was getting frustrated working at Nordstrom's too. Because, it's all by department, and each department has a different commission stance.
Yeah.
Women's shoes, it was a higher commission than men's furnishing. Men's furnishing was a lower commission than men's suiting. All the guys who were in men's suiting were sharks, and they were older men, and everyone in men's furnishing, it was like a lot of my homeboys, and we were just happy to be in this department store working together. And I'm still friends with those guys still to this day. But I think I was getting lackadaisical because I was just like around my friends. I wasn't being challenged. I wanted to learn how to sell suits, but the people that were in that department, they didn't want to teach that.
Interesting.
Because you're stepping on their commission, you're stepping on their clientele.
Oh, wow.
Now there were certain, I'll give grace because there were certain individuals there that would kind of, when it was slower, they would throw the suit on you. Like, they would throw a Canali suit on you. And when you put on a Canali suit compared to like a Ted Baker suit, you see the difference in the lining or the draping, right? And so they would educate you based off of just like wearing it, and so then your eye starts refining, and then you get comfortable expressing that to a client or to a customer. But again, it's challenging because if you got a gentleman who's like a banker and he wants to deal with like someone who identifies with him, which is predominantly an older white guy, they're more inclined to go to him versus someone who may look stylish but may not know, what a 32 or like a 42 regular is compared to like a 38 long, and so like the time under attention, being a rookie in that, I understand like being a rookie versus someone who's like a veteran. Like, those vets in there, they could sell a suit within like maybe 10, 15 minutes because they understand the cut. They understand where the suits are at.
Yeah.
Whereas a rookie, we're excited and it's like, this our first big sale. Like we just trying to get the sale, and it's like a high commission. It's $1,000. It's $1,000. So it's going to look good on our numbers, but you're not paying attention to like building a rapport. When it comes to like being like a consultant or like really like a stylist, you don't want to just get that one transaction just because it looks good on your numbers for the day. You want to learn about the client and like learn what industry he's in, and maybe that $1,000 suit may not work for him because he's a banker and he's sitting down and he's moving. So let's go to something that's a little bit more affordable, like a David Donahue, right?
So as you're, of course, y'all, some of these names I know, some of these names I do not, but this is his lane.
I'm in it.
But so I think my question for you is, how do you handle that obstacle? Like, how is your mental health during that time of like, you don't necessarily have mentorship. You're having to, chuck it up to, I get to be at work with my friends, but also I have this amazing opportunity, but it's not feeding me. It's not nourishing me like I need to, but you're still out exploring in things. So what things were you doing either internally or for your personal development to put you in a position to be ready for that next opportunity with Super?
I think as I listen to you, I'm also just reflecting on how I was raised. Again, I'll go back to just how I was raised, and in the midst of moments being like I didn't have a place to express. My parents also did a very good job, especially my mother, as far as like words of affirmation, especially in high school. My parents, my mom, she would always say things like, just repeat after me, like, I'm blessed, I'm highly favored.
Yeah.
And in high school, when you're 16 and 17 years old, you just kind of like, it's 8:30.
Yeah,
it's like you don't want to hear that. Like, you just really want to go to your class, you know what I mean? But I vividly remember her saying these things, before she would drop us off and then go to the gym, of like just repeating these positive affirmations, and subconsciously they stuck.
Yeah.
I mean, in that moment, I was acting as if I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for those moments because I think that's the light that I still carry.
Yeah.
You know? And at a younger age, you know, my dad would listen to only classical music, dropping me off.
Really?
What?
Okay.
My pops,
this is all giving us who Meka is.
Yeah, my pops, and I hated it. I ain't gonna lie to you, because my mom would play 97.9 The Beat, K104, you know, what's that theme song? When I wake up early in the morning, I say, ooh.
He's about to sing, y'all. But your parents were exposing you, even through, like, your dad exposing you to different culture that we can't, when you can't receive it, you just can't receive it. And I share this with people all the time. Like, if they feel like they're saying something that's falling on deaf ears, and I'm like, no, it's not.
At all.
You have to allow whatever nugget you've given them, it's gonna file in a bank for them, and one day they're gonna come back to that. So your dad exposing you to even classical music, different culture. I'm sure you go to the symphony and the ballet and all of these things, and you don't even know this is like the foundation. And even just music with no words. I feel I've gone to the symphony plenty of times and just been like, bro, I'm listening to music.
This is like my first experience of like something like the symphony was going to Broadway in New York. And my mom was a fan of Broadway because I think there was a moment where what's that talk show host? Wendy Williams. I think she was on Broadway, and my mom like loved Wendy Williams. So we had the opportunity to see that in New York, and that was like my first time seeing like performative arts at like a grand scale, and I fell in love. You know, like my hearts of hearts was like, I'm really like captivated. Like, wow, people get to do this for a living. You know, like perform on stage, and like at a young age, again, like a lot of these things that I was suppressing, I didn't know what suppression was, but I was having these internal battles because that's what I liked. But I didn't want to like admit that. I was like ashamed of it. Just like I was ashamed of my name, you know? Like I was just ashamed. There was a lot of shame. But like my hearts of hearts was like a person who enjoyed dancing. A person who enjoyed like, again, like being exposed to performative arts and like watching Broadway. I think I was maybe like 16 or 17 when I saw it, and I was like, just at awe. I was like, wow, like this storytelling, you know, in real time, you know, it felt really cool. But yeah, like my pops, classical music every morning, and that would irritate me.
I love it.
You know, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like there are like benefits to listen to music like that in the morning. And so that just shows me now like how dialed in my pops was. You know what I mean?
Now that you're older, you're like, man, that was meditative for him.
Absolutely.
So when I talk about your mental health aspect, you didn't even know your mom was affirming you. Giving you words of affirmation, helping you shift mindset. Like you don't even know you're shifting mindset when you're in difficult times because this foundation has been laid for you in such a way. Your dad with the music. So that's another meditation. And you are a yogi. You also meditate.
A newfound yogi. But my mom was big into yoga. You know, like as I was growing of age, like my mom she still has plenty of yoga mats. She doesn't do it as often now, but you know, like my parents are my superheroes. Like I definitely was afraid of my dad. Like a very stoic, because he's a business owner, you know, so he's like a stoic individual. And I would always see him well put together in a suit, in a fedora, tie to the T, nice belt, shoes signed. You know what I mean? Like the whole nine. And he just kind of like claimed that authority in any room that he was in because he was a business owner. And as a kid, when you see that, it's like, damn, like that's my pops. Like I love him, but like I wish I could really express how I can, but like he's a workaholic. You know,
he don't play.
He don't play.
You knew he didn't play
at all. At all. No games. No, quite literally. Like we couldn't chew gum. Like we couldn't chew gum.
Yeah.
I never really saw him kind of like not well dressed, like on a casual level. I always just have this envision of this, again, like gray suit, wide pants, fedora, tie. Like that's just what I see. That's just how I envision my pops.
Yeah.
Now he's not in the best health condition. And so it just feels like so abnormal to see him this way.
Yeah.
You know, like back in February, like during the pandemic, he caught a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Sorry.
yeah. And he had to get like a heart murmur or a heart pacer or something like that.
Okay.
And that was kind of like the shift for a lot. And I owe a lot of who I am to my parents, because in difficult times, whether it was me rebelling as a kid, hanging around the wrong crowd, trying to be too cool, trying to be the class clown, anytime I would get in trouble, detention, ISS, getting arrested.
Oh, wow.
You know, yeah, like my parents were there. It was only my parents.
Yeah.
It was never my homeboys that I was with. There was nowhere to be found.
Never somewhere to be found.
At all. And it was like, it was always my parents, especially my mom, especially my mother. There was moments where like my pops was like, you know, tough love, like let him figure it out.
Yeah.
But you know, mothers, right? And they always showed up to this day. You know, to this day. And so I'm forever grateful for them. And like this conversation is giving me a great like reflective time of just like how I was raised. It was definitely tough love, but there were also very nurturing moments.
Yeah.
Because I was a badass kid. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But it shaped you. Like it's interesting as people go back and realize what discomfort shaped them. They also realize the people who were there.
Yeah.
Carrying you, holding you up, encouraging you, fusing things into you that you didn't even realize become like, yeah, you worked at Zara and Suit Supply and all of that, but you had examples
Correct.
that you didn't even realize existed before you even started looking. And so as we continue along your story and journey, I know you were sharing in 2020,
right.
When does this creative artist emerge? Because it's like this lead up to, you know, you're exploring your identity, you're meeting discomfort, you're not necessarily having the mentorship that you would like to have, but you still never gave up. So you continue to explore, you continue to refine. So what begins to have that real moment of like, I'm going to stand in this. I'm going to own being Meka. I'm going to own all of my name. I'm going to own all of who I am.
Yes. I would say I'm really enjoying this conversation, by the way. And I'm long-winded, and sometimes I'll go on like tangents, but I love how you bring us back to the point, right? So yes, the transition from retail to art advisory, it really happened around the pandemic. So after Suit Supply, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was like February of 2020 when we didn't even realize what COVID was. This was just like remnants of something, of a virus going on overseas.
Yeah.
Right? I remember because like when it came to getting things shipped and tailoring, and certain things would come from China, and so things would be delayed. And that's how we kind of like caught remnants of like this whole virus. I remember. And so
it's really going to impact us.
Yeah. Like there were already things impacting us just through like, things being transferred in, and like, but we didn't know what it was. We didn't know what like the coronavirus was. We were just like, it was just like a thought.
Yeah.
But again, like in March, my mom, again, she signed me and her up to go see, it was a motivational speaker, Tony Robinson.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. In San Jose, California. And unfortunately they canceled it due to COVID.
Right.
But my birthday is in March. And so I told my mom, I was like, just like keep my plane ticket. Let me just take a trip. let me just go out there.
Yeah.
You know, just hold on to my plane ticket. And so I took a trip out there for my birthday, for my 25th birthday. And the pandemic happened, like St. Patrick's Day, March 17th of 2020.
They shut us down.
They shut things down in Dallas, but I was already in California.
Yeah. And
circling back to, and I'm going to get to the transition, but I need to give context. I had met a really good friend during the suit supply training. So they had training at the Crescent Hotel, which is like this, it's in Uptown, but it's like this French-inspired hotel that is, you know where Moxie's is?
Oh, yeah, I know the Crescent Hotel.
Yeah, correct. So that's where the training was at. And it was like a 7-day course of people who were in different suit supply cities, like Atlanta, California, New York, Boston, Dallas, and they would come and they would train. And that was so intimidating, Jas, because everybody was suited and booted.
Yeah.
It felt like an internship.
Yeah.
And there's like 15 people, but there were only like 10 slots.
Yeah.
You know? And so I was so nervous because everybody's well put together. And when you see somebody that's put together or in a suit,
it's intimidating.
It's intimidating. You kind of have an impression of like, okay, he probably knows what he's doing, or he, you know, just optically, right?
Yeah.
And so me, like, coming from getting scouted from Nordstrom's, but I wanted to sell suits. Like, that's what I wanted. So I'm like, okay, Meka, well, like, this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
So like, just lock in. And so it was a beautiful 7-day course of just learning about fabric, learning about fit, learning about tailoring, and like how to like pin up a hem, and like how to like, you know. But there was a gentleman, and it was like another. It was like me and maybe another black guy, and his name is Justin, and Justin is my dog, and I hope that he sees this, because when I first met him, I felt like this dude was mugging me. You know, I felt like he was like mugging me, and I was just like, I didn't know he was a little bit older than me at the time, but I thought, you know, in a space full of white people and I see a brother, I'm thinking like, yo, let's connect.
Commonality.
Yeah, commonality, right? But I felt off rip. I felt like he just didn't want to be there. But slowly after the courses went on, we bonded super tight. So fast forward to when I went to California, he's from California, I hit him up.
Like, I'm coming here for my birthday.
I'm coming. He was like, bro, yeah, you more than welcome to stay. Like, I'll show you around. Let's have a good time. So we had reconnected. And so when I got to the hotel that my mom booked for the San Jose trip, he came and we chopped it up and he showed me around and I had a rental. And then we got furloughed from Suit Supply.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so we were still getting paid, but we just weren't on the clock.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to stay in California. You know what I mean? So I stayed in like the heat of, like, it was like, they called it the epicenter in California. But I was deep in there, you know? I was like roaming around. I was outdoors. I was not outside because things were still open, like things were slowly shutting down. Like, I was hiking. I was doing the Runyon Canyon. I was by the water. And I was in a different environment during the pandemic where everything was shut down. So for me, that experience was like, it was special in a sense of like, this is a new space, but like globally, we're all going through this weird shift and transition. And at the time I was in a real heavy like Bible study. And so I was reflecting a lot over some of like the New Testament, and I was journaling a lot. And that was kind of keeping me at peace.
Okay.
You know, it was keeping me at peace in the midst of me like still having like my desires of like flesh. I was still feeling this like conviction of like the word, you know, and the times that we were in. And so,
so uncertainty was there, a sense of security, which we all want to depend on or lean on. That's not there. You're also in a new city. Granted, if you've been there, if you have a friend there, you're still needing to explore, but also still find stillness and surrender during this very crazy time. So definitely receiving everything you're saying. So that like what do we know is about to happen is this mastery of something exposing itself, but what I really want people to hear is when you're talking about your journaling, when you're talking about your reading and prayer or something outside of yourself, that things like this can come because you've gotten still to hear.
Yes. In the silence. I think in the midst of those times, like March of 2020, I was super comfortable in my solitude because I knew I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
You know, I had the word and I understood the word. I was trying to seal the word, you know, like in my heart, in my mind by journaling. And I knew that I was like covered for whatever was going on. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like a lot of times, you know, the uncertainty for a lot of people is very discomforting and we want to be in control, you know, but in those moments I knew that like I just had to let go. I didn't know what to expect, but that I think that in itself allowed me when things slowly got lifted, like as far as like the pandemic, like things got lifted, I kind of wanted to explore people's stories of like, how was this experience for you? Like when I got back to Dallas, I picked up like cycling, you know, and film photography because we were still isolated, but I'm a creative. So I'm like, how can I still
release all of this creativity?
Exactly. So I did some research on like film cameras on YouTube and bought a film camera on eBay. And I bought a bicycle from Bike Mart near White Rock Lake. And I just started like cycling. And I was just like really comfortable in my solitude because of the experience that I experienced in California.
Yeah.
You know, and like being within that word. But the ultimate transition from like clothing to art, which is just design in a different medium, was I would remember going down in the design district down on Oak Lawn.
Okay.
You know, going down on Oak Lawn near that Ascension, I would always drive past this, unbeknownst to me, gallery that had these sculptures of like vibrant red animals, like gorillas, tigers, but they were like in the shape of cube. It's like a cubism resined giant sculpture, right? And like porcelain, like not porcelain, but like just like that resined feel, like gloss, right?
Yeah.
And I would drive past it and I would always look because they had a really dope window street view.
Yeah.
And I'm always driving past and I'm like, man, that space looks really cool.
Yeah.
But I never took the time to just go in.
Right.
Until one day I said, you know what? Let me just go.
What is that?
Yeah,
Curiosity.
Curiosity. I was like, let me just go in there, you know? Again, back to the notion of like not entering spaces where you feel like you don't belong, like where you have no business being in.
Yeah.
That was like the notion that I always had. Like if I have no business being in here or like buying anything.
Yeah. If I can't afford it, what
am I doing here, right?
But
there's something like the curiosity is the word. I was just like, let me just go in there.
Yeah.
You know? So I walked up in there and it was empty, you know? It was empty, but I go all the way down and it's a gallery, right?
Yeah.
And I go all the way into where I was seeing on the street and there was a lady in there and she was like repainting some of the walls, like doing like small nicks, like recovering. And I was just asking her, I was like, hey, like, is this like an open space? Like where am I? She's like, oh no, this is a gallery. I'm just like setting up for a art happy hour. Right. And I was like, okay. She was like, yeah, it's a free event. It starts at 7.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the artists here. You're gonna get to meet them and just mingle with like other art enthusiasts.
Okay.
Please come if you'd like. It's free. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm in there and I'm seeing all the works. And it was just like, it was a contemporary gallery space. So they had different mediums from like glasswork to sculptures to obviously like canvas. But unfortunately, I fell asleep and I missed that exhibition.
Right.
I missed the exhibition. And a few maybe weeks or so later, I get invited to the Dallas Contemporary. One of my friends was working at the Hublot watch store at North Park.
Okay.
And he invited me to this event that was happening at the Dallas Contemporary, because Hublot was doing this like they do like watch ambassadors for athletes and artists. And one of my favorite artists, Shepard Fairey, was one of the ambassadors. And Shepard Fairey, he had this streetwear brand. He still has this streetwear brand called Obey.
Okay.
And Obey, it was like one of my first introductory streetwear lines that kind of like got me into like streetwear fashion, along with like Echo and like 10 Deep and Diamond Supply. Like those were the brands that were like cool and like, and so I didn't really realize he was an artist, you know? And so I was like, wow, this is the founder and owner of Obey. I get to see his work and I get to meet him. Yeah. What a full circle moment it would be. So I made sure that I went. And then in me going, I saw Megan again, which is her name, that worked at the gallery.
That you missed the opportunity.
Correct.
Okay.
When I saw her, I immediately ran up to her. Not ran, but I was like, I'm so sorry that I missed. I just started apologizing, right? I'm like, I'm so sorry that I missed it, And she was like, no, it's okay. We have this like every third Thursday. Like, it's okay. Like, just come to the next one. Yeah, just come to the next one. And so she introduced me to, unbeknownst to me, my director, right? And her name is Carolyn Tanner. And my parents always told me, fortune favors the bold, right? And so I asked Carolyn, I was like, do you need any assistance in your gallery? That's all that I asked. I just asked.
Yeah.
I just asked, you know? And she was like, you know what? We actually need some assistance in sales.
And you have experience in sales.
And I told Kara, I was like, I could sell water to a whale.
Okay.
You know?
So there are a few things that I'm like, first of all, your mom, that whole message of, and I thoroughly believe, ask not, you have not. So one thing Jas will do is ask, baby. And it's rooms that people are like, how'd you get in there? Don't worry about it. I asked. Y'all unwilling to ask. And
closed mouths don't get fed.
But also the showing up. And I think every space you have been in, really every time you're leveling up.
Correct.
But I think sometimes we fear the luxury space, right? This space that seems intimidating. Even when you're at Suit Supply and all these 7 cities come together, it's intimidating. But what you don't realize is fear tells you to get, like, that threshold is intimidating. But when you get through the threshold, you're like, this space there's mentorship, there's leadership, there's like all these beautiful things.
You know what Will Smith has said? I don't know if it's his quote, but you know how he coins fear as an acronym. You know how he coins it, right?
No, I don't. But I don't remember, but I know what he said years ago is why I went skydiving for the first time, when he talked about. We're going to dive into that
fear. Too. No pun intended. We're going to dive into that. But yes, so I don't know if this is his quote, but he uses fear as an acronym, meaning false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
And that sits with me in any moment that I feel like I'm having imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know, which I was feeling. I didn't really recognize what that was when I was in that, when I was dealing with Suit Supply like that those courses in Suit Supply, or like even the transition into the gallery space. So after I met Carolyn and told her like I could sell water to a whale, I literally told her that. And she laughed. And then we set up an interview a few days later. And it was a very casual conversation, just like this.
Yeah.
She got to know me and what I did as far as my experience. I had no experience in the art world at all. I'm not an art history major. I'm not an art historian. I may have took one elective of art in junior college,
right,
like photography, you know what I mean? And didn't even pass that.
Yeah.
You know, but she saw something in me for whatever reason that was. Maybe it was like, okay, this is a well put together man. Maybe he has a different audience that he can bring to my space or bring to the gallery. And so in the midst of us having that interview, she was like, you know, we don't have the budget to have you like full-time or part-time, but what we can do is hire you as like a independent contractor, right? And so essentially what I would do is every month for those art happy hours, I would lead generate. I would bring in my clientele, and I had jobs outside. I still had gigs. Like at the time, I believe I was like working at Balenciaga for a little bit. I left Balenciaga, got laid off from Balenciaga. Was working at a showroom called CB2. And these are all clientele. Like CB2 kind of helped me as well, because this looks like a CB2 couch. This is that boucle like whole vibe, right? But I'm dealing with like first home buyers. I'm dealing with interior designers, architects. All of these people need art. And so what I would do, I'm a hustler. So I would invite them to the gallery.
Yeah.
You know, I would invite them like, hey, have you been to Markowitz Fine Arts before? And they were like, no, what is that? I was like, I would give them a card, because thankfully they gave me a business card, and it was like Junior Art Advisor. And I took ownership of that name.
Yeah.
I took ownership of that name. Even though I wasn't full-time, part-time, I showed up and I was like, let me put my best foot forward.
You're impeccable. Like, I think that even speaks to people. Sometimes we want it all the way, and if it doesn't come in the form that we want, so we don't show up the full capacity, and you have to. And I also really want people to get out of this. The experiences that the universe, God, you name it, are taking you through, if you shift your mindset, you will see it's all opportunity. Right. You'll see the experience right in front of you, or your reality is in, I work at CB2. I got let go from Balenciaga. But what you don't realize is, if you see the value in all of that, if you see CB2, this is clientele, Balenciaga, this is clientele. I still get to, no matter what I do, interact with people. Right. And I always say this, when God gives abundance, he gives you people, opportunities, and choices. The first being people. So if you stay connected with people, you always have abundance.
Absolutely.
But if you look at people as your enemy, as like you're unwilling to ask for help, and when you do get the opportunity and it's not the way you want, then you're like, oh, this has failed. But it's like every opportunity, if you give me one shot, oh baby, I already know.
Come on. and that's challenging. Like, I've gotten to this point of realization, but through the midst of it all, it's like I'm in my own way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ego driven at times, or like my pride, you know, especially just being a Black man, you know, like these are things that I like struggle with internally. But no, you're absolutely right. Like, I know for a fact, like, and anybody can also maybe relate if they're in like working luxury spaces, sometimes people will judge you based off of what you have on and if you're going to spend or not. Yeah. You know, because, you know, we would have this like lead system where if I clocked in first, if there's like maybe like 3 people on the floor and I clocked in first and someone came in second, like I'll be the first person to get the first person out the door. And then it just rotates, right? And so sometimes when you see somebody and they might be dressed a certain way, people will automatically be like, oh, they might not spend. Am I gonna waste my time? Yeah. But I'll tell you this, it'd be the people that you least expect.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be the people that you least expect that may come like beach bum flip-flops and they'll drop a bag. Yeah. And they'll do that intentionally based off of, it's like a social experiment. It's like, how you gonna treat me when I'm dressed down like this? This could be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
But you never know. Like, you have
at all.
When you are in the business of serving people and you genuinely care to serve, it doesn't matter what you look like, what you have on. If this is a thrifted,
I've learned that the hard way. I've learned that the hard way. I've missed out on great opportunities, but also I'm learning from my mistakes, and I'm recognizing, like, just because this person has X, Y, and Z, whether it's working at Highland Park and the lady has a Goyard bag, or this gentleman comes in and he has like a Cartier watch on or whatnot, that doesn't matter. If it's a gentleman who is in short shorts, flip flops, beach bum, I'm still gonna introduce
if they
myself.
Walking through your door, they a whale.
I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna have a conversation with them. I'm gonna make them feel seen. I'm gonna keep them at ease. I don't care what you have, but I'm gonna make sure that you feel seen, because I know how that makes me feel.
Right.
I know how that makes me feel when people are like genuinely. And it's also like it could be a sales tactic as far as like a gentle persuasion.
Yeah.
You know, it's very psychological. But even then, like when I walk into a store and someone either compliments me or just asks how my day is going, that kind of breaks the ice down. They might want to still get a sale, but they not like a car salesman, where it's just like
salesy, and like you like doing business with people who like get to know you.
Absolutely. And so I understand that. And it takes time. And I know people are impatient. Like, and then we're in this like microwavable era where we just want things quick. But I've learned the hard way and like learned through my mistakes, again, like my discomfort moments, that don't want to judge a book by its cover. Sometimes you'll get a bad apple here and there, but like for the most part, I try to treat everybody as an equal, no matter if you're here or if you're there. Or
you know respect you have to
it's the respect
extend
component.
Respect to everyone. And so curiosity has been a theme throughout your entire like story, and
since
discomfort
I was a kid,
meets us all in that identity. And so as we kind of close out, what is something like as you're driving in your car later, you're like, man, I wish I would have said this to people? Because it's like, I do also want to share this, like you are intentional, you're impeccable, and you're detailed. And like, and so when it comes to a sense of style, I think it was awesome to hear you even just thrifting. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to have a lot of money. You can be in luxurious spaces, but you got to be willing to show up.
Absolutely.
And once you show up, opportunities will present themselves. But if you're unwilling to show up and explore, hate to break it to you, you can't be helped.
This is true.
So just if you're leaving it all on the table and you're like, dang, I wish I would have said this. And what's one thing?
Nah, that's a lot of pressure. But I ultimately, I never want to give like unsolicited advice. Like if people come across this and happen to meet me in person, I'm super regular. You know, I'm very regular at my core. But I feel like currently right now, just like whether it's what's going on in California, what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Texas, I feel like globally there's a shift that's like, people sense it, but they don't know what to do with it. And again, back to like small like innuendos that my parents would tell me, troubled waters, when there's troubled waters, you have to learn how to float, you know? When there's troubled waters, you have to learn how to float. And one thing that my dad would always tell me in midst of like my frustration with certain things or like me not getting my way, he would tell me like, smooth seas do not make a skillful sailor. You know what I mean? Like smooth seas do not make a skillful sailor. So the trials and tribulations that we're dealing with, and we feel like we're not getting things our way, or we may not like be happy with the situation that we're in currently. Like we are in this moment for a reason.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out whatever that is. And like, don't let it pass you by.
Yeah.
You know, yesterday, which was Juneteenth, I celebrated it walking a fashion show. I got to meet my childhood crush, Lady J. Shout out Lady J. And I got to experience Erykah Badu. She did a live show at the Bomb Factory, which it felt just like cosmic, but yet ancestral at the same time. But I was at the fashion show before the show started. I met a young lady, and I was just getting to know her. And I asked her, like, what does she do in the midst of like anxiety or like worry? And she was like, I don't know. I just keep going. You know, and in that moment, like it was so telling to me, because how I deal with my anxiety, like I resonated with that because we may feel as if life is constant because of social media and like people seem as if everybody has it all figured out or things are moving fast, you know, but what I've learned in my midst of just like my sobriety kick, and we haven't even got to my sobriety kick, 2 years sober, you know, no alcohol. Literally yesterday was my 2-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. But it's in the moments of like stillness and like inward, like figuring out inward, like looking yourself in the mirror and choosing who you want to be every day. And asking yourself like, how do I want to show up? But yeah, like I guess not to veer off, but like that last thing my pops, he would tell me was just like, smooth seas do not make a skillful sailor. Yeah. So what we're going through right now, in the midst of it, you're gonna look back and be grateful that you went through that or you overcame that. Yeah. Because it's gonna equip you with the skills and like the skills that you need.
Right, but you go within.
Correct.
Like when this happens, those seas are choppy waters. To get it to the calm seas, it's go within.
Absolutely. Go within. As my yogis would say, namaste.
Oh my God, we're going to end on that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Meka. Thank you for joining me, Jas Kirk, on Comfortable Conversations. Remember, the greatest gift life can offer you is discomfort. It's what shapes us, teaches us, and helps us grow. If today's episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. Until next time, keep embracing life's challenges as opportunities to create your masterpiece. Your canvas is waiting. Go paint it beautifully.